Hi there.
Hello, Connie.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yes.
Honey, you're a pro. You know we can hear you.
I'm getting good at this, okay? Yeah, I just got a text from my sister-in-law. She said they're out dinner and she won't be able to join. But I said it's okay. I'm gonna get the information and send it to her anyway. So yeah, I really wanted her to get on this for sure. So kind of bummed about that.
I'm already.
Now we're recording, so she'll hear all about it.
Okay, cool.
Well, I send everybody a text like you, Connie, so I don't know if I'll send another text.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Um, I think it's okay. Well,
What time is it?
it's
Yeah,
6 o'clock?
Connie, tell us about your cousin or your friend,
which one?
the one that you invited here today.
It's my sister-in-law.
What's your sister-in-law?
Yeah, she had a stroke back in October. Her husband had a stroke a month before her, and we're like, what's going on here? But hers was, I guess, half her, I'm not sure if it was the left or the right, is numb, and she still has like kind of tingling. It has affected her seeing because she can't see very well. Sometimes she'll text me or but call me, but because she can't see. Um, so she's on a walker right now. That she's trying to start walking. She's doing a lot better. She just started like a personal training to help her, but her diabetes is she kind of chunky. So she does need to bring her diabetes A1C down. And she said within, I don't remember how long, but she says it's down to like 6 point something, but it's come down a lot from what she was. So she was happy with that, but I told her about the tea and everything. And yeah, I really wanted her to sit in on this. I think this would be something up her alley.
Okay.
I think we can all use this.
Yeah.
And, but that's where she's at with this.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Gail Carney. I'm a chiropractic physician. I'm a health scientist. I'm a nutritional specialist. I'm an acupuncturist. I'm a health educator. I want to emphasize health educator because I want to help as many people as I can. And you can help them if you educate them. So, oh, there we go, changing screens again. And this is where we get into trouble. Let me see if this works now, Celia. Does it change?
Yes.
Perfect. So, do you know what insulin resistance is? Yes or no? Connie?
No.
Okay. You know what diabetes is?
Yes.
Okay, but insulin resistance, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. So stick with me here. Now, insulin resistance increases your risk for, and I want you to look at this because I'm going to read each one of these to you. Diabetes, obesity, high blood sugar, metabolic syndrome, PCOS. Do you know what PCOS is?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's polycystic ovarian syndrome. That's painful menstrual cycles, etc. Okay?
Okay.
It also affects insulin resistance, also affects heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, kidney disease, skin tags, depression, decreased libido, neuropathy, liver disease, gout, erectile dysfunction, chronic fatigue, acne, infertility, chronic inflammation, abnormal menstrual cycles. We talked about that, PCOS, oral health issues, weakened immunity, skin discolorations, and mood swings. Now, here's something most people don't know. 1 in 10 people are diabetic. 1 in 5 people are diabetic and they don't even know it. And then there's 1 in 3 people that have pre-diabetes and they don't even know that. So this system here this system has helped thousands upon thousands of people reclaim their health, but it does it naturally. And that's what's important. And I'm talking about people with severe cases of everything I just showed you, severe cases. So here's my question to you. What if I could prove the system works to you with other people sharing their stories? And I think there's about 14 testimonials here. Now, I could go on and I could try to convince you of this, but why do I want to do that? I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell you a thing. I want you to understand that there are real people out there getting real results. Is that fair? Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Again, let me be clear. Let me be clear. We have thousands of testimonials, but today I just wanted to share a few of them with you. And then it quit again. It's lagging. Okay, let's start. Let's start here. Now, here's a man that his insurance was paying, I don't know how much he was paying, but it was about $18,000 a month in medications, but he dropped that to zero.
I was 25 when I had my first heart attack. I laid in a bed for 3 days, basically wishing to die. We had 3 children and another one on the way. She's sitting there worrying about whether she's going to have a husband or not. So luckily, I was able to make it through that. But ever since then, I battled with heart issues, anxiety issues, overweight issues. I've been a big guy my whole life. Before I found this protocol, I was up to over 360 pounds. As my life went on, I was in and out of the hospital multiple times. I couldn't even guess how many stents I have in my heart. And then probably about 6 years ago, I was in the hospital 5 times with heart attacks to get stents. The medications, I was on over $18,000 a month in medications, was being billed by insurance company. So since I've been on the protocol, I've been able to completely get off of all of them medications, get off of my CPAP machine, get rid of neuropathy. I've lost a little bit over 100 pounds now. We've been on it since July 17th. Been very good for us.
We got on this protocol in a few short months. It's changed our lives. We're healthier. We're like ready to take on the world. This is a whole new ball game for us, and we are enjoying life.
We decided to treat ourselves to New Year's Eve in Las Vegas. We walked, I'll guarantee you, a minimum of 10 miles a day. This is something we haven't done since we were in our 20s. It's like the fountain of youth for us.
It's amazing.
Let's see if it moves forward. Yes, it does. So this is just not another supplement drink or anything like that. It's a scientifically designed approach that targets, and I mean targets the hidden inflammation keeping you sick. And they found out that inflammation is the cause of most diseases. Now, I want you to think about how it felt to have abounding energy when you got up throughout the day and to sleep through the night without waking up, Connie, because of some pain in your legs or your hips or whatever, right?
Yep.
And to actually enjoy meals without worrying about what you were eating, feeling good about who you were and what you were going to do that day without worrying about your health and your pain and everything else. Well, let's listen to Mr. Cox's story.
In my early 30s, I got diagnosed type 2 diabetic. I didn't think that I was. I worked 80 hours a week. I just thought I was always going to be tired. I wasn't feeling right. Went into the hospital, actually, because Carrie made me go to the hospital. They asked me, Mr. Cox, how long you been diabetic? And I said, I'm not. And they said, well, with a blood sugar of 598 and an A1C, I don't think it would register, but they said it was a 16. I said, how did you walk in here? I spent a week at the hospital. They put me on 4 insulin shots per day. I asked, is there anything I can do not to take these? And they said, nope, you're going to be on them forever, which was the biggest lie they could have told me. Long story short, with the insulin, I gained 80 pounds over 10 years. I had fatty liver. I was on 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol med, eventually developed diabetic retinopathy. I was faced with getting shots right before I started this protocol. But for about 3 years, I battled neuropathy terrible. I mean, it dictated my every thought. My monthly insulin cost was $1,300 a month until my deductible was made, not including the rest of the pills. In the course of that time, I took over 20,000 insulin shots in my life. Becky calls. I finally look at it. Trent and Greg Six and Becky actually show me, and I thought, I have nothing to lose. I was on a path of an early death in 4 months, and I didn't lose any weight for the first month. I didn't realize that because my insulin was so high, I wasn't going to lose weight. But then I lost 35 pounds. And in 4 months, I got off 4 insulin shots per day, 2 blood pressure meds, 1 cholesterol. I got off all my neuropathy meds. When I just right before we went to Bangkok, I went and had my eyes checked. The doctor was so weirded out about it because she was looking at 18 months ago and she was scanning my eyes. She's like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Your prescription in both eyes improved. You were faced with going blind, and I've never seen you had been diabetic for a day, let alone 20 years." So now I'm down 57 pounds.
That was Mr. Cox, I think. So if you have tingling feet or stubborn belly fat that just won't go away, if you're a male, some embarrassing moments might be a part of your life because of something called ED. Now, a friend of mine, he gives presentations, and he said he talked about ED once, and the woman in the back said, "Well, what's that?" And she says, "I think I have that." And he said, "You think you have ED?" And she says, "Yeah. That's an eating disorder, isn't it?" And he said, "No, that's not an eating disorder. That's erectile dysfunction." So, so guess what? Those are not what you would call separate problems. They're what you would call connected symptoms. So, what if you have depression or anxiety, or maybe even both? It's real
Hi, it's Brandy. I started the Feel Great system in January of 24. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. My depression and anxiety was at its worst. My moods were irrational, erratic. I was riddled with inflammation, joint pain, scalp pain, eczema, weird skin rashes, chronic sinus infections. I was on the hamster wheel of medication and side effects. I was on 17 different meds. After the first 2 weeks, my energy was back, my brain fog was gone, my mental clarity was there, so much so that I could actually hold a decent conversation. By about the 4th or 5th month, I had come off 11 meds and I had dropped 50 pounds. No more migraines, no more joint pain, no more dehydration. My inflammation is gone. My Crohn's disease is in remission. My life is much better today. And I thank the Feel Great system for that. Have a great day.
Does anyone here take medications? And that means prescription drugs or even over-the-counter drugs. Anybody do that? No. Celia? No?
I take Advil once in a while.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, what I find interesting is somebody will say, I say, "Well, are you healthy?" And they say, "Yeah, I'm really healthy." I said, "Well, good. Do you take any medications?" "Oh, yeah, I take about 6 or 7, but I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty healthy." Well, you can't be healthy if you're taking drugs. You just can't because drugs are chemicals. So I want you to think about how your life would change if you could reduce or eliminate your medications with your medical doctor's blessing. What would a general surgeon say to you if he or she knew about what you were doing? Now, here, I'm going to play this audio from a general surgeon. I want you to listen to what he says.
I'm a general surgeon. I practiced general and vascular surgery from my first 12 years in practice. Over time, I'm seeing more and more of my patients that come in that are obese or morbidly obese. A lot of them have chronic metabolic disease. I tried some different ways to maintain my health over the years, and I got this message from Yvette, who had been a nurse in our area, and she was talking about metabolic health, and she was talking about a natural way to deal with it. And I began to learn from her and from Trent. Thank you for both, and Shannon. So after a while, doctors sometimes are a little skeptical. I studied, I was listening, and Yvette was probably saying, "Hey, come on, just try it." And I joined, and I started using Unisco. synchronicity. It really made a difference in my life. I checked my insulin level and it was 6 or 7, and the vet said, "Hey, that's way too high." My testosterone level is about 2, and that's way too low. And over the next 3 months or so, my testosterone level went up to about 6.5, 7, and my insulin level went down to 2. I was a believer. And so we started sharing this with our patients, and I started sharing it with my friends. This is life changing.
So here's one for women. We talked about this earlier. Women with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, are reporting regular menstrual cycles for the first time in years and also less painful menstrual cycles. And that's a big deal. So let's hear from Katie. And I think once you see what Katie looked like before and where she went, you're going to be amazed at how fast it worked for her.
My name is Katie, and I struggled with prediabetes, weight gain, high cholesterol, skin tags, PCOS, and so much more. I started the protocol, and it helped me not only lose over 90 pounds, but I reversed my prediabetes, lowering my A1C from 5.7 to 5.1. I've lowered my cholesterol with my triglycerides from over 200 to 53, and also raised my HDL from 49 to 65. And I also got off my metformin that I took for over 20 years. I am so grateful that I found this because it is simple, it is effective, and it is doable. It has completely changed my life, and I am not stopping anytime soon.
Now, she took metformin for 20 years. That is really, really, really hard on your kidneys. It'll destroy your kidneys. So, if anything came out of that, at least she got off of the metformin. So, what if you have diabetic neuropathy? That's where you have the burning, the numbness, and the shooting pain of neuropathy that can potentially begin to subside when your cells in your body finally get what they've been missing nutritionally. And that's the key. Most people don't get. They expect things to happen quickly, and when they don't, then they say it didn't work. Well, what I give you, what this is, doesn't do it necessarily quickly, but this really does work pretty darn fast. And that includes the brain fog, making you forget people's names. Anybody ever had that problem? I have. Lose or misplace your keys? I have. And struggle to focus on. And this isn't just about someone like you aging. See, people think, yeah, you lose your phone. Yeah, you lose that a lot, Celia. Uh, So, no, I'm sure you don't, Connie, but we do. We do. So, people blame everything on aging. They do. It's because of your age. Well, why is it some people are in a wheelchair when they're 50 and some aren't? Most aren't, but some are. Why is that? Barring any bad accidents, it's because you don't take care of yourself. And it's about the inflammation in your brain. Here's the deal. Your brain is fighting that inflammation off because you keep telling it it doesn't need lots of cholesterol, and your brain needs lots of cholesterol. As you age, you want your cholesterol to go up. You do not want it to go down. The more cholesterol lowering statins they give you, the more you're going to have Alzheimer's, memory loss, and dementia. And that also helps protect your heart, which is, in my humble opinion, bogus. If you they say, oh, your cholesterol is going to help protect your heart, and it's not. It's not going to do that. Now, here's a fact. Blood pressure medications treat your blood pressure numbers. It's all about putting you into a box, and that's it. They do not treat the causes of high blood pressure. And again, it has to do with inflammation. And this system helps your body naturally remember how to regulate itself without any side effects. So let me just say this. Anyone interested in losing a few pounds without strict dieting? Anybody want to do that, right? Oh, I'm talking about the weight that won't budge. It's kind of around your middle. It might be visceral fat, which is not good. Despite you using every diet and exercise plan, you go out and walk, you go to the gym, you do all these things, you starve yourself, and the weight either doesn't come off, or if it comes off, it doesn't stay off. So how would you like that weight to start melting away when your cells start working properly together again? You most likely have an aunt, an uncle, a spouse, or a loved one that you care about. So let me ask you this. What if, Connie, what if your mother-in-law was going to have her foot amputated? What would you tell her?
Damn. I feel bad because obviously too much sugar. I mean, I don't know what I would tell her other than I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but you don't know what to tell her, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't know what to say.
Okay, now listen to what this woman has to say to her, what she did for her mother-in-law.
This is my testimonial video. My family started this protocol in January of this year. The results have been amazing and life-changing for my family. I started this journey looking for a solution to help my mother-in-law save her foot from amputation because she's been a diabetic for over 15 years on multiple medications and her foot was not healing. Thanks to this protocol, she got off all medications, ditched the wheelchair, and lost 20 pounds around her midsection. Save her foot from amputation. Me personally, I lost 15 pounds, shrunk my love handles, and lowered my triglycerides by 40%.
Now that's good, but if you saved your mother-in-law's foot from amputation, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. So let's talk about men now, if you don't mind. Uh-oh, had to do that. So let's do that. What about ED? We've already talked about that a little bit. That's erectile dysfunction. But it isn't just about blood flow, it's about the same cellular inflammation. We talked about that, Connie, inflammation affecting your entire vascular system. Now, I want you to think about this. If I give you a medication for your blood pressure and I'm trying to lower that, that's going to affect erectile dysfunction because it has to do with blood health and how it engorges that organ, right? So if I'm giving you blood pressure medication, that's going to affect erectile dysfunction. It just is. I mean, it's one plus one equals two. It doesn't equal three, it's two. So when your cells can properly process your glucose, everything changes, which means your energy, your mood, your weight, and your life. And they all change for the good. So let's talk about another patient. Now, he had a heart attack, GERD, and irritable bowel syndrome, and a whole lot more. I didn't want to fill up this whole screen with everything that's happened to him. So when he started this program, he wasn't in the best shape.
My name's Brad Lambert. I'm from Wapakoneta, Ohio. Been diabetic for several decades. The last 15, 20 years, especially horrible diabetic. Gut health was awful. Gastroparesis, GERD, diverticulosis, IBS. I've already had a heart attack about 14 years ago. All I was getting was more and more medicines, and it just kept making me more and more sick. I would eat too much most of the time. Snacking was huge. The dietitians had taught me for years, make sure you get at least 6 meals in and plenty of carbs in those meals so they'll stick with you and you'll make it through the day. And always make sure you get one big group of carbs, 15 grams of carbs before you go to sleep so your medicine doesn't drop you and you die while you're sleeping. My diabetes numbers, always horrible, even on almost 200 units of insulin a day. My stomach and that area was so inflamed and swelled all the time. Nausea every day of my life for the last several years. So this really turned my head when I seen somebody online that said, we can reverse those things. They're not chronic the way they've been telling you. I've had huge amounts of progress in my gut health. And I told my wife just a couple days before we found this system, I said, I'm going to die. I can feel my body shutting down. I lost 30 or 40 pounds in about 5 weeks. Neuropathy, which went from chest to toes, about 85 to 90% better. I'm seeing at least 80% or more improvement in 10 weeks. At this point today, I'm taking nothing but the Feel Great system, but I'm way, way better.
Now, here's another patient, and she's 64 years old. And for her, things just kept getting worse. So let's see what she has to say.
3 years ago when I noticed an unexpected weight gain, especially around my waist. I'll be 64 next month. I just couldn't figure out, what was going on. Here I am on this health journey, exercising regularly. So also I was diagnosed with scar and alopecia where my hair started falling out and thinning out. That's an autoimmune disease. Didn't know what caused it. I was eating Motrin like candy, which I knew I couldn't live that way because it would kill my kidneys and my stomach. Another thing I found out, my cholesterol went up. Hey, I'm plant-based. Why is my cholesterol up? So I feared with the weight gain. I was very devastated about what was going on with my health. I asked God for help. In June of last year, help came my way. And somebody introduced me to this wonderful protocol. I started taking it. I started drinking this tea. And then I noticed I started losing weight. I couldn't believe it. I had been trying to lose the same weight for 3 years and nothing had come off. Something's going on here. But within 2 months, I had lost 20 pounds. My hair is no longer thinning. My cholesterol levels are now normal. And I don't take Motrin anymore for pain or for the neuropathies that I had going on. I was so excited. I was like, I got to shout this from the rooftop. I got to tell my testimony. This is amazing. And one of the first persons that saw me on my transformation, of course, is my husband. And he don't do anything when I do it because he said, I want to be able to tell the story if it don't come out right. So he didn't do it. But 2 months after I made my transformation, he decided to try the product. Well, my husband's been diabetic for 25 years. Within 4 months being on the protocol, he is no longer diabetic. He is no longer taking his medication for diabetes. He was like, I can't believe it. This protocol made a believer out of him. It has really changed and saved our life. Thank you so much, Trent.
Don't ever believe someone that says you can't reverse type 2 diabetes. Don't ever believe that. So what about a woman with an 8.9 A1C reading and she had blurry vision and all kinds of other health issues that were unexplained?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I was in a crazy car accident. I was laid out in the bed with several broken bones. I was having these other symptoms of like really painful hands and painful feet. I had blurry vision. I just had brain fog. And the doctor was like, whoa, your A1C is at an 8.9. She's like, well, we're going to have to start you on injections. So I was like, there's just no way. And so I found the protocol. When I started the system, my blood glucose levels went from over 300 to like in the 200s. It was probably the easiest thing that was going on in my life. In 3 months, I lowered my A1C from 8.9 to a 5.2. By the third month, I had reversed my diabetes. I went from a size 2X to a size 10, 12. I'm pretty happy now. All that brain fog, neuropathy in my hands and in my feet, gone. My doctor's like, I wish all my patients were like you. Like, tell everybody. I was like, yeah, I'm telling everybody.
So I want you to imagine checking your glucose meter in a few weeks if you have any problems with that and seeing normal numbers without all the anxiety and the stress and without that up and down roller coaster that you usually have. So here's what that person had to say about her feet and sleep. My feet burned so badly I couldn't sleep for 3 years. Now, I'm sure she slept, but she didn't sleep very good. And after just 2 weeks, I slept through the night without pain, which is a big deal. I mean, if you're not getting sleep, you're gonna be a different changed person. You really are. So here's the deal. The same inflammation, and we're talking about inflammation here, causing your diabetes, your neuropathy, your high blood pressure, and a host of other things related to insulin resistance, because remember what that list was when we went over that, is likely behind all your joint pain, your weight gain, your digestive issues, and constant fatigue. Now, here's a 78-year-old woman that is doing everything the hard way, but she's getting results even though she spends a lot of time in the gym. And when I say a lot of time, her daughter is a certified trainer, and her daughter makes sure that she eats right every day and does the gym. And she's always doing things. And this woman is now 78 years old. But remember, she's doing it the hard way. And there she is. One on the left, one on the right. This is when she was 76 years old. Now she's 2 years older. So the thing is, you got to ask yourself, do you have the time to do things in the gym 5, 6 days a week, or would you like something you can do at home? And don't be alone. And here's a 76-year-old woman from Tennessee and what she had to say about her high blood pressure and her cholesterol.
My name's Sherry Bennett. I'm from Tennessee. I'm 67 years old. I have been overweight most of my adult life. I really was just scrolling through TikTok and I kept hearing all about this unicity. Came across Shannon Davis one day and it just got my attention. I started listening to everything she said and it just made perfect sense to me. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I was on high blood pressure medicine. I was on cholesterol medicine. I weighed 273 pounds. And well, I started doing low carb January the 4th, 2023. Early part of 2023, I did do the Manjaro shots for a few months, but it didn't do anything as far as I didn't feel it. I mean, I was losing weight and I was happy with that. And I started listening to Shannon and she talked about intermittent fasting, doing the low carb and the high protein and drinking these 2 drinks each day. So I thought, I'm just going to try it because I know I don't want to stay on medication. I don't want to take shots. I want off of all that. And so I ordered the system and I started using it in a very short time. Came completely off my high blood pressure medicine. Don't take high blood pressure medicine anymore. I don't take cholesterol medicine anymore. As of this morning, I weighed 176. And I truly think once I started this, that's when I started feeling so much better. I started having energy. I started wanting to go out and do things. These are magic.
Magic is the key. So unlike medications that force artificial changes in your body, I discovered I didn't, a way that supports your natural healing processes. And that's important. Well, how about a man that had diabetes for 24 years? 24 years. And he was still able to get results and turn his life around.
I'm over here in Dallas, Texas. So I knew in my culture that diabetes was in my family. I've had diabetes for over 24 years. I've always had an issue with filling myself up. Once I started eating breakfast, I was always thinking about lunch. At lunch, I was thinking about dinner. I was on metformin. Then I went to Janumet. I started taking insulin. I started taking Trulicity for another 3 years. I started hearing about the program back in October 2022. It took me 3 months to finally make that decision. January 1st, 2023. Within 2-3 weeks, I was already off of these shots. I am now off my medicines, almost a year right now, off of it completely now. My cholesterol levels are all in range now. I'm down 50 pounds right now. Who knew that something like this could help me in so many different ways? It's been a game changer for me.
Down 50 pounds, that's not too bad. So what would you do with your life if you weren't constantly managing your symptoms, your medication side effects, and going to doctors for your medical appointments? Now, do medications really work? Well, what if your meds were not doing anything for your diabetes and you were up to 360 pounds?
I was diagnosed as diabetic about 21 years ago. It did kind of throw me for a loop at that time, but they put me on a med. The meds will just take care of it, all right. Then I get on another diabetes med. Then I get on cholesterol med and acid reflux and high blood pressure. And by the time I got to being on 4 diabetes meds and my A1C still out of whack, and I had ballooned up to 360 pounds, I started questioning whether all the meds were really the solution, I could not get below 320. I tried many, many, many different things, but it got to the point where I gave up. I thought I was just going to die young, and that's the way it is. I couldn't figure it out. My wife and I started this protocol together. It was amazing. I was able to get off all 4 of my diabetes meds, reverse my diabetes type 2, reverse my fatty liver. Everything in my blood work came in line. I was able to get off my high cholesterol med, my acid reflux med. I started this protocol at 320, and I lost 72 pounds. My wife, she lost 38 pounds, but the key thing with her is she had kidney disease stage 3A, and she had had this for 3 years. After only 7 weeks on this protocol, she went in and had her blood test, urine test, met with her kidney specialist, and they said, I don't know what you're doing, but you virtually no longer have kidney disease. This will rock your numbers and your world.
I have one gentleman, he had type 4 kidney disease, and he started taking the drink and it went down to nothing. He doesn't have any kidney problems anymore. So what would one doctor say to another doctor about her medications and treatment? What would they say?
I am that doctor that everybody wants to say. I went to my doctor and they tried to give me medications. I was the one doing it. That's what I knew how to do. I knew how to actually write the prescriptions and end up needing prescriptions for the side effects and the drug interactions. That's what I knew. It wasn't until I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, there's got to be more than this. In a couple years, I'm going to be 50. I don't want this life. I don't want to look like these people. I have a family history of type 2 diabetes. And so I actually got certified in lifestyle medicine. That's about going after the root causes of conditions. And I started going on social media, and that's how I got connected with Anne Marie, who said, hey, have you heard about these products that can help you help your people like you're trying to tell them? Of course, I thought she was just trying to sell me something. But when I was able to use these products and get people to latch onto the lifestyle changes, I saw people's A1C come down much quicker than I was ever able to do for 20 years. So when you actually see these results, it became a no-brainer. I started using it. I was able to get off of my blood pressure medicine after 2 months. I was able to take my brother out the ICU with his uncontrolled type 2 diabetes and put him on these products and got his sugars down to where he didn't need his insulin, his Trulicity, his metformin. I have my 72-year-old mom who has MS, who's bouncing around playing pickleball, no longer with her leg dragging and wearing her high heels. I'm enjoying what these products are doing with me and my family.
She's playing pickleball. If you've never played pickleball, you should try it sometime. It's not that easy. So, what if you had high blood pressure and high cholesterol and you weighed 492 pounds and you were on 25 medications per day?
About a year ago, it was January of 2024. I was on TikTok one particular day. I found a guy called the Healthy Pitmaster, Jim Grasser. I listened to Jim for 6 months. His name got my attention, a pitmaster. Though he wasn't talking about food, he was talking about high blood pressure, talking about high cholesterol, which I had, talking about weight. I was 492 pounds. I was taking 25 pills per day just to sustain life on Earth. Fast forward to June. I went to my doctor in June, and my doctor came out and told me, he said, look, due to your obesity, due to you being on 25 pills a day, I don't think you're going to be around another 2 or 3 years if you don't get a grip on your health. Well, it was a 45-minute drive home, and all I could think about was the Healthy Pitmaster. I came straight home. I ordered the protocol. I drank my first tea July 1st, 2024. So I've been on the Feel Great system for 6 months. In 90 days, I was able to get my A1C from an 8.8 down to a 5.7. I went from 25 pills a day down to 4 now. I've been able to get off 21 of these pharmaceuticals right here that I was spending $300 a month for. I've reversed type 2 diabetes completely, and I've lost 103 pounds in 6 months. I was spending $8 a day on breakfast. By skipping breakfast, skipping one meal, I'm saving $240 a month. That allows me to buy this protocol and put about 60 bucks in my pocket. I would have loved to have started earlier. I didn't think I could afford it, but I wasn't looking at the big picture. The chronic fatigue that I had every single day, I would sleep 10, 12 hours a day, sit on the edge of the bed and think, do I really have to suffer through another day like this? It was a horrible feeling. I'm glad I met Jim. This system is changing lives.
So, do you think it's time for you to change your life and how you feel? That's what you got to ask yourself. Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is not a time to think about when you're going to invest in your own health. When you do that, bad things happen if you just wait. I mean, so here's what you do. What about your health if you're a pre-diabetic? Think about that. You don't want to become a diabetic. You definitely
My name is Ari. I'm from California. I had not told anybody that I was pre-diabetic. My doctors were telling me like, hey, we need to start considering medicine for you. And I was so ashamed. I was like, no, I'm going to pretend this doesn't exist. This isn't real. And maybe I'll get away from it somehow. I kind of put some blind faith in it when I started. Within a month and a half, I went from pre-diabetic to just back in the green with my blood work. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't even just my blood work. I mean, my glucose and everything was incredible. My clothes were fitting different and I was starting to lose weight and inches. And on top of that, since December, I have lost 40 pounds officially. Nothing has worked like this. I've been on keto, multiple kinds of different diets. I'm enjoying just doing things normally. I'm getting healthy while living my life. And that's what I love about it.
Now, here's a woman that was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and we have a lot of people here that have diabetes, even though she says she was never sick.
My name is Nori. I live in Norfolk, Virginia. 14 months ago, I was given a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, and I have never been sick in my whole life. I had headaches all the time. I had adult acne. My hair was in poor condition. I had night sweats, hot flashes, and the doctor said, I'm going to write you a prescription for metformin. I'm going to write you a prescription for Lipitor. And he said, and you're going to be on these medications the rest of your life. And I said, wait, I don't want to do metformin. And he goes, well, you're going to have to. This is a part of the aging process. This is what happens when people get old. And I did get a personal trainer, and I spent 300 and something dollars a month for a year. I lost a whole 11 pounds in a year. That wasn't working for me. And when you're 5'1" and you weigh over 180 pounds, doing box jumps is not real simple to do. I didn't like it. I really didn't know what I was going to do with this diagnosis. And I was on TikTok one night, just doing what I do, just watching animal rescues and dog grooming videos and stuff like that. And this guy came into my page, and his name is Greg Six. And he said, these are the signs of insulin resistance. And he starts naming off things. And I didn't believe that this could even work for me because nothing else had. And then when he said it had a 90-day money back guarantee, I thought, well, if nothing else, I'll just get my money back and I'll just go on and try to figure it out later. In 4.5 months, I was not a type 2 diabetic anymore. In 6.5 months, I wasn't even pre-diabetic, and I'm down 51 pounds. And they see my results and, what are you doing? And so I share it with them, and they try it, and they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was almost a size 16, and I'm only 5'1", and now I'm a size 4, size 6, depends on who makes the clothes. I'm living my best life. 62's a new 42.
Now, I don't know the difference between size 16 and size 4. I know there's a difference, but I don't know if there's a big difference there. I think it is. But, I go by circumference around my belly. So right now you have a simple choice to make. I'm not selling you anything. You just need to make a choice. You can continue on the path you're on, or you can do something that has been proven to work, but it's your choice. Your health, and I want you to think about that. Your health is your most important asset. It really is. And it's about quality of life. So make the right decision for yourself, whatever that is. And I'm just here if you have any questions. So do we have any questions that somebody might want to ask? Anybody got any questions? Connie, you got any questions? No? Okay. Celia?
No, but I want to thank you very much because the people that I invited today were just people that I love a lot. And ever since I found out about this and that I'm taking it, and that I look at my daughter and I look at the choices out there for so many women that are taking this Ozempic thing, and it's got all these side effects, because we really do want to be at our ideal weight, but we can't get there and we don't know why. And so and just of course, I'm dealing with my own health challenges the last 3 years, and even though by the grace of God I'm healing naturally without medications, it does take longer. But I know I'm not ruining my other organs while I'm trying to fix this one organ that is all over my body, my skin, right? And so there's nobody on here that I don't love with my whole heart, and that I don't know that they have physical challenges too. And so I'm like that one of the testimonies that you showed in the beginning. I can't stop talking about it since I figured it out. And I'm sharing it with people that I love too, because none of these people believe in medicines either, but then what do you do, right? So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate you. And I sent you the link so you can find it. There's a lot of science behind it. I went with Dr. Carney last week to Las Vegas to the actual corporate headquarters, where they did an extensive presentation to people that came, 2 sessions. They filled the room of 80 people, really, really sick, looking for an answer. And so, of course, I'm going to share it with people that I love. And let's see if we could get some results all together. I would love that. And I already have shared the link with those people that are here. And I hope you try it, because I mean, it's not a lot of money compared to medications and all the hazards. I want, these are people, I want them to last another 20 years so we can continue being friends. So thank you, Dr. Carney.
Okay, I'll turn this off, and you guys can talk to each other whenever you're ready. Okay?
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose Luis and Yogi. Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate you all. Connie, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.